Hashtags All About AYA Cancer covers issues relevant to adolescents and young adults impacted by cancer. Hashtags is a video podcast series presented by 1330 Cancer Connect.
Hey everybody, welcome to Hashtags.
All about AYA cancer.
I'm Sabrina.
And I'm Steve.
And today we're going to be talking about a challenge that comes up a lot in AYA cancer, and that is scars. When we're talking about scars, these are, physical scars, emotional scars. It's something I don't think we think a lot about until you're kind of looking at people and being curious. But cancer leaves scars on you. And so we're going to be chatting about that today.
We sat down with Brittany, Liz, and Taylor. And we, it was interesting to hear a lot of the things they said about their physical appearances is in regards to the scars. So it was really insightful stuff that they had to say, and we really wanted to share that with you. So we're really excited for that.
Yeah. And today's episode is a part 1. This is called Scar Wars.
Yeah.
That was Steve's idea. But very appropriate title. And so we're going to be taking a look, as we said, at the physical impact of scars and what those look like in today's episode. In part 2, we will be discussing the emotional impact of scars. Mm-hmm. Our members had a lot to say about both of those topics.
Yeah, and I also want to ask you some questions because I know it kind of hits home for you as well. So after we talk with the three of them, we'll kind of wrap up the episode and we'll chat with Sabrina a little bit as well.
Yeah,
so
share my story with you.
Let's get started and hear what Brittany has to say.
All right.
I was a track athlete and a soccer player, and just one of my track meets or one of my soccer games, I just all of a sudden couldn't run, and we went in to a physical therapist, and I did 2 weeks of physical therapy because I thought it was just a strain from playing so much soccer, and then we realized that it was a tumor. After my surgery, I think it was a solid 6 or 7 years before I ever wore shorts in public. And even when I did wear shorts in public for the first time, I was so self-conscious. Because I have a large scar from here to here and the back of my leg. And I was just always so self-conscious. And one of the first times that I did wear shorts out in public, I had a mother and a daughter. We were at Darien Lake or Cedar Point, and I had a mother and a daughter in the line just staring at my leg and whispering. And it made me feel so horrible, and I didn't like the looks. I didn't want anyone to stare at me or think I was different or anything. And I think the shorts went back, or the pants went back on a year after that until I got the confidence to.
And now?
And now I wear shorts all the time. I'm completely fine. I'm proud of it. I want people to ask questions. I think it's awesome what I went through, and I want to show people that I survived, and I'm this happy, healthy person now because of it.
I was diagnosed with hepatoblastoma when I was 7.
One of the things that we've been talking about is scars. So I know for a lot of times with cancer treatment, like for myself, with my cancer, I have some pretty visible scars, and a lot of times people can hide their scars, but when it's something that you've gone through that's been a little more, traumatic as far as surgery and whatever, you have these bigger scars and people are kind of like, oh, what's that about? So what's your experience with that? I mean, do you have physical scars that people can see?
Yeah, I have my port scar up here, and then I have one that's like this long and goes like that across my stomach, and that one's a struggle.
Yeah.
Because in gym class when I'm like changing, and like I was used to be super self-conscious, like I would go to camp and I would change into my bathing suit.
Yeah.
And I would like want to cry when people asked me what's going on there. Well, I would always turn towards the lockers because I didn't want anybody to notice or see it. So I would like take off my shirt quickly and just try to cover it up. But occasionally, like if I like put my shirt behind me or like had to turn around for some apparent reason, people would be like, "Oh, what's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's my scar. I had cancer. I'm okay. I'm not dying." I always thought.
Yeah.
Now I'm okay with it, but like back then it was just really hard.
How did you get to that point of being able to be okay with your scars?
Well, over time I started to being here helped a lot. That was a big step.
Yeah.
And just kind of talking to people and being like, it's okay, it's there, it's not going to go away. It happened, and I'm not going to pretend it didn't happen.
visible scars, they're my battle wounds. You know, I mean, they're not exactly very attractive or, I guess, good, like nice to look at, but you know what? They're proof that I came out alive, and I'm proud to show that. You know, I have people all the time that'll be like, "Oh my God, what happened to you?" And I'm like, you know, that's my chance to tell them what happened, and I take full advantage of that, and I'm proud of it. I mean, there's times when, you know, I look at it and I'm kind of like, you know, it would be nice to not have that, but then I think about everything that I learned and who I became after the fact, and I'm proud of it. They're not just scars, you know, they're things that I'm proud of.
So I don't know about you, Steve, but I think especially Taylor's piece of that, everybody had such great stuff to say, but I loved how Taylor mentioned battle wounds, how scars were her battle wounds. There's something to be proud of. And I loved hearing Brittany's side, how she really came out of that shell. You know, she didn't wear pants for, what'd she say, 6 or 7 years?
Yeah.
Because she was so self-conscious. And then she got to that point where she realized, you know what, scars are actually something to be proud of. And I can tell my story that way, and I'm not afraid of people staring at me anymore. And I also thought it was so great to sit down with Liz and kind of get her perspective on things. And she's, you know, on the younger side of things, because it happened when she was 7. Yeah. And now she's 14, and what that looks like being in high school and people asking questions. And actually, one of the funny things that she said to me was that a lot of people, when she says, you know, oh, I have cancer, or I had cancer, and they're like, oh, are you dying? And she's, no, I'm not dying, you know, but it's become so automatic for her. So to get past that and just be like, you know, this is a battle wound, this is a scar that I have, and it's something I went through, and I'm proud of it. So I thought that was really cool. I loved hearing from all of them.
Yeah, it's everybody has kind of their own story, and I find that unique. No one has the same scars,
right?
And I think it's interesting to hear what they went through and maybe the obstacles that they have physically, but also kind of what's going on in their head with the scars,
right?
And that's what I wanted to ask you about, Sabrina. I want people to know your story and kind of what Sabrina had gone through, and it's really interesting to hear that as well, because her scars are apparent, which stinks.
Yeah.
But some of the things that she's gone through and the stories that she had, and I just kind of wanted to go over that a little bit with you. So tell us a little bit about your cancer and everything you went through.
Yeah. So my cancer was actually very rare. It was oral squamous cell carcinoma. So it was a cancer in my tongue. And they have no idea how I got it. It was just a tumor in my tongue. So by the time doctors found the tumor, realized it was a tumor, the cancer had to be removed. So they took half of my tongue and reconstructed it. I don't know how well the camera can see this, but reconstructed it with my arm. So they took muscle from my forearm and grafted from my thigh. And I had lymph nodes removed from the right side of my neck. I had a trach at one point, too, when I was in the hospital. So when I got out of the hospital, I mean, never mind just learning how to speak and chew and swallow all over again. I mean, there's plenty to say about that. But the scars themselves were very, at the time, very bright red and visible. And I went through a lot trying to cope with the fact that I remember actually before my surgery standing in the shower and staring at both of my arms, and because the doctors had said, this is how we would have to reconstruct it. And I remember thinking, okay, so I want to remember what this wrist looks like. It's very weird, but I just remember very vividly standing there and being like, it's never going to look like a normal wrist again.
Did they ever describe to you what they thought it was going to be like?
Not really.
They don't really know.
For me, it was more of a shock because, by the time I was on a lot of meds in the hospital too, so I don't remember a lot of things, but I remember the first time I stood up in front of a mirror and I was like, oh my gosh, what happened to me? Because you're just so shocked by it. And I had 86 staples. So that was just, neck and arm. And so it was crazy. And then moving forward, you're healing, you're trying to cope on your own with your appearance has changed completely. And I went to Planet Fitness one time with one of my friends. And I was finally just getting back into fitness and everything was going well. And I'm on the elliptical machine, I'm running. And this girl's next to me and she's staring at me and she's staring at my arm. So I was trying to ignore her. Then I go to use the restroom. I'm washing my hands. This girl's staring at my arm. And I felt so uncomfortable. and I thought, if this is this what it's always going to be like? Basically, I'm just like, everyone wants to stare at me because now I'm weird, you know? And that, even emotionally, and I can talk more about that in our next episode, but even emotionally, that hit me hard.
Do you ever like feel like you wanted to always wear long sleeves after
Yes.
that, or scarves and stuff to cover it up? Was
Yeah.
that kind of
And I think that even now, even though I am very proud of my scars, and I'm very proud of what I went through, and kind of exactly what Taylor said. I think of them as battle wounds. But I do still find myself, I always wear I love my scarves anyway, but I find like I always wear them, and especially in the winter, it's easy to do that.
True.
But yeah, I think a lot of times, or just maybe subconsciously, I'll kind of pull my sleeves down, or I kind of lift my collar. I think it's more of like a protection mechanism. But I am very proud of my scars, and they open the door to tell my story and share with people about what I went through. So
yeah, a lot of our kids that come through, that sometimes they want people to ask those questions when they do see the scars. So it's really interesting for you to say that. And I know others have said that too when we have our programs and stuff, or if they're out in the community, someone sees it. It's an opportunity for them to really tell their story and everything that they had gone through.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
So I think, for someone who's watching this video podcast right now and who is going through something where they have, significant scars from their cancer treatment or their surgeries, I think the biggest takeaways for myself as having gone through this also is that, your scars are something to be proud of. They're not something to be afraid of. They're not something to hide from. And they open doors to the opportunity to share your story. And I think that's the biggest part, is people don't understand until you help them to understand. So...
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we'll be continuing with episode 2 of Scar Wars, which will focus more on the emotional side. So thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
And we got to end with the power clap.
Yes. So
as always.
Quick, explain what the power clap is.
Power clap is an opportunity for us to end every program at 13:30. One unison clap that kind of sends us off into the world with some strength.
Yeah.
So it's something that we do here. We want you to join us at home. I'm going to say power clap 1, 2, 3, and after 3, you're going to clap with us.
Yes.
All right. So you'll kind of get a feel for it when we do it here. And if you're not, you can always rewind it, watch it again, and make sure you get it right.
It's practice.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Power clap 1, 2, 3.